Hi, welcome to the Sifu Mimi Chan Show. Thanks for joining the conversation.
Sumer Strawbree, thank you so much for joining me on my podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I am so thrilled that you are in Orlando because normally I have to be on Zoom and it's super lame and, very flat, two-dimensional, and this is awesome because we get to be in person.
Exactly.
Yes, and you're on summer vacation right now, so I didn't get you out of school for this because sometimes that's a really exciting thing. Like, no, we're going to do this on a weekday at 11 a.m., but it's cool. Maybe we'll do another one in the fall. But I am so excited to talk to you because, as a female martial artist and a martial arts teacher, one of the things that's super important to me is empowering our young women, but also our youth. And that is certainly something that you have been doing, my dear.
Yeah, I think it's super important. So I'm an author and illustrator. I created affirmation coloring books for young Black and brown girls, especially minorities, so they could build their confidence. And I think that was really important to me. Since I was bullied, that lowered my confidence. My dad, he had to introduce me to positive affirmations. That built up my self-esteem, and I really wanted to have representation for Black and brown girls as well, which was really important to me.
Absolutely. I mean, you just kind of said so much there that I really want to delve into. Let's just kind of take it back a little bit, rewind. So a lot of people don't realize what the experience is, quote unquote, nowadays in school, because it's a very different dynamic. I'm not going to age myself, but my listeners and viewers already know, but it was a very different thing. Like, bullying of course existed, and I understand now even there are so many different facets to the word bully. Like, how do you define that?
So bullying, I really believe it's when someone is kind of attacking you either verbally with cyberbullying, physical bullying, and it changed since back then what my parents and maybe you have went through, because cyberbullying is really popular right now, and I think it's really normalized as well. And people may not feel like they are a bully, but it's because they're seeing from another point of view. And bullying, it's getting up there right now with suicide rates as well, especially with girls. Between the ages of 8 and 14, girls' self-esteem plummets by 30%. And that's pretty large. So I really wanted girls to have something that, it's like a tool and a resource that they can use to either build their confidence or have representation for themselves.
Yeah, and because again, when I grew up, I had these things. They kind of look like these little black boxes. They're called pagers. No. But basically, we didn't have cyberbullying. I mean, I was literally in college when the internet came about, and it was like, ooh, what is this thing where you can look up everything? Can you tell me a little bit about, because also our listeners are of all ages, like, what does that actually mean, cyberbullying? So does that mean someone's on your social media, or do they have your actual phone number, or how does that work? How do they reach you? And basically, this is really scary because it's with you all the time, your technology, right? And so it's something where people have more access, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to escape cyberbullying. I was cyberbullied in middle school, so it was where I released my second coloring book with affirmations. Somehow, my classmates got my phone number, and now I'm thinking back at it, that means one of my friends gave someone else my phone number, and that's how it started. So also social media, I was cyberbullied on Snapchat, so multiple kids would put something on their Snapchat story referring to me, and then my friends would start asking me questions for some reason, and it felt like I didn't get a lot of support with my business, and it was kind of unfortunate because I'm trying to help out children and people like me in my community, but I guess like my classmates and kids at school wouldn't see it that way. It's pretty hard to block cyberbullying. I mean, you would really have to block the person that's really bothering you. Definitely tell the school if you are a student. Tell your parents, of course. That's the most important part. Tell someone that you trust, because it's a hard situation to go through, and it's pretty hard to escape nowadays. So
yeah, I would imagine it's also really scary for a lot of young people who don't really know the difference between oh, this is just someone bantering and they're just trying to reach out to me, or is this negative talk? Or I feel like there are so many instances where people don't feel like they could be bullied. Like that's not me. I'm not a victim, or that I'm fine. Nobody hit me, right? And so, but you're kind of explaining that, anybody who isn't attacking you or making you feel pretty much unsafe or uncomfortable, or making fun of you, the very traditional bullying in person type of thing. I mean, that does also happen online, and it can be really toxic. And like you said, for women especially, I know on your website, and I have it over here on my laptop, but like you have all these statistics about suicide rates and really, really scary things when we think about the dynamic of what the youth are going through. And as adults, we don't necessarily proactively ask. Like you get the, hey, how are you today? How was your day? And your usual response from you is fine, right? I mean, most people. What would be your advice to kids that are afraid to talk to their parents, or haven't talked to a teacher and don't feel comfortable, or don't know how to find the words? Like, what is it that you do tell them that they should do?
Okay, so I want to refer back to the part where you're saying it's kind of like bullying. Well, people see bullying as a joke.
Yes.
That's exactly how I felt when I was in elementary school. So I didn't feel like I was being bullied at first, and I really thought the kids were joking because it's elementary school. Everybody is joking around, making comments and things like that. But once my dad told me, that I'm being bullied, and he's seen how I became insecure more, I kind of realized that as well. But for the children and students that may be going through bullying and they don't want to tell anybody, I would probably definitely recommend doing I am affirmations. That really helped me build my confidence. Doing self-care as well, but I want to refer back to my affirmations part.
Yes, please.
So affirmations, they start with I am. So like, I'm beautiful, I'm unique, I love myself. And those things right there, reading it every single day before you as soon as you wake up and as soon as you go to sleep, before you go to sleep, that really helped my confidence over time. And at first, I was wondering why my dad kind of recommended me to read affirmations, and I was like, I feel like it's not going to work for me. But once he told me to really believe in the affirmations, read it daily, also be in a power pose, like the superhero pose, that subconsciously built my confidence over time. And affirmations do work, but it happens over time, but you still got to believe in them like they will happen.
Absolutely. And like I was saying earlier, as a martial arts instructor, that is something that we find so important, is to empower our students, not just kids, adults too. Adults get bullied also, of finding their self-confidence and having a better self-esteem, but believing in yourself. And I love your power position, because we actually have a power position in sports, right? An athletic power position. But, in martial arts too, we like to say, you have to be confident. And it always starts with posture. People think that they come here and they're learning to kick and punch, which, yes, of course, you get to learn all the cool things and to fly around and all of that. But really, it's about, building that inner strength. And it's certainly something that you've seemed to have done a miraculous job of. So kudos to you. I'm so impressed with the work you're doing. And I'd like to talk more about the affirmations, because I feel like a lot of kids don't really know what that is. I think a lot of adults have heard of it, but don't believe in it yet. And I feel like it's something that is really understated. And I love that your dad took you through these and it worked for you. And was this in elementary when that started? And so you've been doing it for quite a long time then.
Right, yeah. And it's definitely have worked. And nowadays I see how affirmations are becoming more popular, which is so great, especially on social media and everything like that. When I'm at events, I do meet quite a few parents that say that, me and my kid, we do affirmations. And I think that's really exciting, and some schools even do their own affirmations as well, which I think is really important as well, because it gets the children and students in a mindset where they feel confident, where they feel empowered, and they're ready to start their day and things like that. So.
And now, I would guess, and you don't have to share because they are kind of personal, people, you can of course, but people maybe, they'll change them, right? It doesn't have to be the same one all the time. Do you have kind of a running list of this is my Monday affirmation and this is my Sunday, because you have different challenges every day. Do you have different affirmations for different situations?
Yes, so definitely I have personal affirmations for school, for my future. So different aspects in my life that maybe I do see a problem in. So I take a negative affirmation, maybe a student or a girl is feeling ugly or things like that. So take that affirmation, think about what's the opposite of that affirmation? So I'm beautiful. So that's another way I think of affirmations as well. So I have affirmations for different aspects of my life. And I think I recommend younger children to do that as well, journaling, practicing gratitude as well, which is so important. Yes. So that ties along with affirmations as well.
I saw on your website that you have all these amazing products and different things that you have available for people. I'd love to talk now about why you decided to actually make it into a book, as well as a coloring book, activity. You also have gratitude journals. You have so many different things that you are able to have people, take with them and use and have on a daily basis. Talk to me about the process of I'm going to write a book.
Exactly. So my first coloring book is called Black, Brown, and Beautiful. The story behind that was that I was being bullied at school, introduced positive affirmations. And the story behind that as well, behind the affirmations, is that I wouldn't draw girls that looked like me. So I would mostly draw white girls because I was following tutorials on YouTube, like how to draw a girl. And it's usually girls that don't look like me at all. Yeah. So I started becoming programmed when I started to learn how to draw. So I'm self-taught, but I used YouTube as a resource to draw. I didn't see enough representation for me, so I just started drawing what I saw. And until my dad noticed, why aren't you drawing girls that look like you, black and brown girls? I actually never noticed that. I was just thinking of drawing, having fun, But once I realized that, I was like, wow, I actually haven't drawn girls that looked like me or represented me. So that was another story behind the title Black, Brown, and Beautiful, because I was kind of learning about what I was doing as myself and wanting to have representation for girls that look like me. My second coloring book is called Glow Up. So that's in 6 different languages, including English, Spanish, Portuguese, French, Haitian Creole, and Swahili. So it's talking about how black and brown girls, we're from many different countries, many different regions in the world, and we speak many languages. So that's also due to the transatlantic slave trade, so taking people from Africa and spreading it across the world. And that was another part of the book as well. I also have in the back of my affirmation coloring books where girls can write their own I am affirmations. So they could start, they read the whole book, now it's time for you to write your own affirmations, your own personal affirmations as well. Also the gratitude journals, that is so important. You have to be thankful for the day. So me and my dad at 7 p.m. every day, we write what we're thankful for the day. We're thankful for the good things that happen, and we also reflect on the bad things that happened that day. So being thankful, that's another aspect of the affirmations that are so important to me too.
Yeah, and it's really interesting we're having this conversation because I podcast a lot, and a lot of times my husband and I, we delve into a lot of philosophy, as he's a strength and training conditioning coach and mentor, as well as a martial arts teacher, and we're always kind of trying to figure out what are ways and what are things that people need to hear. And it's really interesting because gratitude comes up so much, and I think it's very counterintuitive to be grateful for things that have happened that maybe aren't positive. But I mean, we're kind of grateful in a sense that you came out of your challenge and your bullying with all of the strength that you did, and that you have your dad to have guided you through that, because without that we wouldn't have these amazing books, and we wouldn't have you spreading such amazing positivity. And while of course we would never want you to be bullied, we're not grateful you were bullied, we're just grateful that you found the strength that you had. And so just kind of out of negativity, do you find that, wow, I realize there's so much that there's stuff on the other side of that?
Exactly. Recently I've been thinking about that too. I was really sad that I was bullied, and I had to go through all that for so many years and go through insecurity and things like that. But it helped me get to where I am today. There's a lot of success stories that, for example, Oprah, she was a news reporter, and people said that she was ugly and things like that. She had to go through that, but now she's inspirational, she's motivational, and she's a billionaire as well.
Oprah.
So yeah, she's Oprah.
That's she's Oprah, right?
Yeah,
Yes. 100%.
Everybody has a story of trial and tribulation that they went through, something that was not so positive, but now they broke out of that and they're successful now.
Yeah, and we don't want to also just paint this rosy picture for people, right? Like, you were bullied, everything's fine now, you're never going to be bullied again, nothing bad ever is going to happen. I mean, it is a daily step forward, a daily piece of your journey. It's not. You are very young, so it's by no means the end of the journey. But I mean, I think the the messaging that you give is really great, which is that positivity. But I mean, you're kind of preparing yourself for all of the extra trials and tribulations you have in the future. I mean, does the future feel more or less daunting because you feel prepared? Like how do you kind of view, you're in high school now, yes?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm going to 10th grade, which is so quick. I don't know how I got here so fast.
I bet your dad feels even like it's even quicker.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel definitely prepared more getting into like kind of the world that adults are in right now at a young age. So I feel definitely more prepared, and there's still things that I have to learn, especially in the entrepreneurial world, different industries too. So yeah, I feel a little more prepared now than I was when I was younger, before I was an entrepreneur. So
back when you were young. And so I want to rewind too, because you gave us so much information, and I had a really lovely conversation with your dad kind of before I set up this appointment. But like, I love getting schooled. I love being educated. I am really big on education and learning more about other histories and cultures, especially as it pertains to American history, because we don't get enough of the accurate portrayal of all the facets of American history and what that makes up, starting with Native Americans, of course, but we just don't get enough. And you mentioned that there were so many other areas, and you have these different languages for your books specifically because you want people to learn of all the different areas that people are coming from, and that it's not just Africa, right? And it's not just in one place. And so can you share a little bit about your interest in the historical aspects? Because you threw out all these facts like, everybody knows this, such common knowledge, but I'll tell you, it's not really common knowledge. Unfortunately, we don't get to learn what we need to, and if you're really old like me, you don't remember what you learned in history so much very well. But tell me what has been fascinating for you as you've researched to be an entrepreneur, but also specifically for the contents of your book. It seems like you've been researching a lot and learning a lot, maybe taking extra classes or reading more, because I know that unfortunately it's not necessarily in school that you got all this information.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I'll talk about that as well. So I'm always into civics, history, and my dad really got me into that starting at a young age. So learning about the different laws, amendments, things like that. So now since I'm in a world where I'm talking about like my culture and like the history behind that, I think it's really a vital part of what I'm doing. Yeah. So I've done some research that they're banning books in Florida, especially books that are talking about minority history. And I think it's a horrible thing that's going on, and I think it's really covering up our history and suppressing it, and it's really upsetting. Also talking about the AP African American history classes that were basically dismissed. I mean, I would have loved to learn more about my culture without me having to basically do my own research. And usually at schools, they only talk about Rosa Parks, MLK, and I mean, I've learned this for so many years. Like every year they talk about the same two people in their history, and what they did was so important, but I would love to learn more about like things that are going on. And I mean, they're basically talking about American history, but they're not talking about everything that happens from different points of views. And I think that's not a good thing that's happening right now. So.
Yeah, I feel the same way, which is why one is how I found you actually, right? Because I am also the director of Make Us Visible Florida, which was, wow, okay, we're supposed to be learning all of these facets of history that's in our, Florida law, so to speak, right? And then I was like, oh, I don't know. I know even less about Asian American history as an Asian American, and it was really embarrassing. It was also really, I felt the same way as you. And so yes, we're generations apart, but I can tell you growing up, not seeing yourself represented, you tend to go, oh, well, if I get a doll, or if I draw a thing, or if I look at a movie, like you're seeing what other people's portrayal of America is, and it's not really through our eyes and through our experiences and through the family that we see around us. Like I'm grateful I have family and I have a community here that, allowed me to stay in touch with my culture, but I didn't know anything about Asian American history, right? I didn't know about all of these people that I recently have learned about through this journey in my 40s, okay? So you're way, way, way ahead of the game, girl. But yeah, and so because of that, I was like, oh, this is something we need to fight for. And then, of course, I found you because I was over at the mayor's office, Mayor Demings, who is a huge supporter of our initiative and has been a huge supporter of Walam and all the Lunar New Year's. And even back when he was sheriff, I've had him on the podcast, actually.
Okay,
So we've had some conversations as well. But you know, they told me, hey, you know, you're having this Blasian book fair. Have you heard of Sumer Strawbree? I was like, I have not. Tell me more. Because they're like this, she's this amazing young woman who has written books that has been circulated worldwide. It's about bullying and her experiences. And I was so grateful that they connected us. And I'm so excited to be working with you on the Blasian book fair.
I'm really excited for that too.
Yes, because I think one of the things that, again, we don't get to learn in American history is how much solidarity there has been across cultures and across different backgrounds, right? And so just there's such a long history of actually Black and Asian solidarity, like, you know, even back during the civil rights movement and everything. There's just so many instances, and I was shocked to learn this.
I still have to learn it too.
Yeah, right. And so it's just been fascinating to kind of learn and then also now hopefully walk that path. And so I'm really excited that you're going to be sharing your books with us. You're going to be doing a vision workshop at the Blasian Book Fair here in Orlando, Florida. So that's really exciting. And yeah, I mean, it's really great that we got connected because I'm always excited to learn, especially from the youth. So
Yeah. Thank you so much.
yeah, and now I have to talk to you about your art because you said you were self-taught, and I know I'm a little bit of a critic of the YouTube generation, but I have to say when people do amazing things, I gotta give credit where credit's due. Talk to me about what art means to you and what kind of form of expression that is, and you know, and obviously we'll talk about the amazing art behind us here too. But yes, tell me more.
Yeah, so I was talking about earlier how I was kind of influenced the way I drew, and like the history behind my art. I would start off with like my crafting journey. When I was younger, I'd always do crafts, always draw all the time. I was really creative. And once this was some of my best pieces right here. So I love drawing minorities and Black and brown people that really inspire me. And really, this one really represents a lot. Strong woman that's being represented right here. And I love drawing pieces like that. They inspire me, and I hope that inspires others, the people that see it. So yeah, I really enjoy.
Now, have you sent this over to I know the director of this film, actually.
Oh, really?
Yes, Gina Prince. She was on my by the way, she was on my podcast.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes, she was, and so I'm sure she would love to see this.
Yeah, I mean, she did see it on my Instagram reel that I posted. That was really exciting as well. She's seen that, which was really, really cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that it's incredible, and I think that art is such an amazing form of expression when you can actually, you know, I don't know, do you actually put pen to paper, whatever you call it now? Because I don't know, I can't, this is all on the computer, but like, it's so remarkable. And these pieces here, is this for a show, or is this where people can like get this if they want this? Like, tell me more about like, not just your books and your journals, but tell me a little bit more about your art process and where we can see more of your art.
Yeah, so you mean like the process of creating my art?
Sure, that, and then also what's next with what do you do with the art? Like you bring it to all your events and.
Yeah, so the art process is that I basically find something that inspires me and try to make it into my own personal way.
Okay.
And I've been drawing digitally since 2020, so when I was like in 5th grade, and time is moving so quickly. But yeah, also on my vision board when I was in elementary school, I created my vision board. I was like, what do I really want to do with my art? And I really said that I wanted to put my art in art galleries. Okay. And so that's been happening recently. Awesome. My art is at a local arts gallery in my community. Yeah. And also coming to the Venture X exhibit that's coming pretty soon. So I'm really excited for that, and I'm glad that my goals are being fulfilled via my vision board.
And so talk to me about the vision board, because I know that is how you got to accomplish a lot of the things in terms of being able to see it. I understand the process of, I mean, the concept, but I want to know what that means to you, and then why you find doing vision boards such a, reinforcing thing, like why it's worked for you.
Yeah, vision boards are so beneficial. I've been creating my vision board since I was in elementary school, and it's been really helpful. Instead of writing your goals down like on a list form, I think it's really important that you really visualize it. That's why it's called a vision board, so you can see your goals before it really happens. And creating a vision board, the process is really fun. It's like crafting, very creative. But once you see those goals and visions come to life, it's really exciting. And I've seen a lot of exciting things happen on my vision board so far. A lot of goals that are being accomplished, and being on national TV was one of my goals on my vision board, which I've accomplished a few times.
Congratulations!
So, thank you. But yeah, I think seeing the vision come to life is really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Were you nervous being on national TV?
I was, deep down inside. I was still confident at the same time, which was pretty much portrayed on TV. And I don't know. Okay, so like I know the goal, it was accomplished, but I'm like still kind of in shock.
Of course, and you should feel, you enjoy the moment. The old person is going to give you the, okay, I've lived this amount of years. I'm just going to tell you, just enjoy every moment. And I know you're ambitious and like on to the next thing, but you can totally spend time still being shocked and in awe and being excited about it, and enjoy your moments. All right, I have to ask about the Strawbree.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's a very cool take on strawberry. Obviously, we're donning a lot of swag here, some strawberry earrings and everything. So tell me a little bit about why Sumer Strawbree.
This is a frequently asked question that I get a lot. So I came up with the name Sumer Strawbree because I like the summertime, especially when it's hot outside in Orlando, Florida. I know people do not like the summertime. It's hot. Like people usually go to beaches and things like that, and that's like the most exciting part about summer. But for me, I just like the weather. I'd rather it be summertime than winter because I'm not a fan of the cold. Also, my favorite fruit is strawberries, so I combine those two together to make Sumer Strawberry. But I wanted to make it a more stylized and like personal, unique way. So I made it Sumer with one M, Strawbree. So,
Oh, that must have been fun though.
Yeah,
to kind of come up with your, I guess your public persona.
Yeah, my alter ego.
Your alter ego. All right, which that's really interesting because I feel that I very much sometimes have an alter ego in like, okay, here's my professional, this is Sifu Mimi Chan, or even, my stuff with film, but like, do you feel like sometimes there's this crossover or that you're kind of confused, like, who am I today? Or is it really all the same person to you and it's just really kind of what the public sees?
I think that's a good question. I've never been asked that. So when I'm like at school or things like that, I kind of tone down my confidence a little. Well, I mean, I'm definitely confident at school, but in a way that it's kind of hard to explain. But definitely, I feel like my persona is definitely Sumer Strawbree at school and professionally. But it's kind of like in a different way. I don't know how to explain.
I mean, and this is a really, really amazing skill actually to learn when you're younger, right? Because it's not that you're someone else in different situations, but you have to go, okay, if I'm going into, a job interview or a college application, area, whatever they call the resource fairs and all of that, you're going to put on a different type of persona, and you should totally be able to be relaxed with your friends and have a different, persona, you should be able to code switch and be able to kind of be you in all these scenarios. And I don't think it takes away from who you are. Like you said, you can be confident, but it doesn't need you have to kind of flaunt it and bring it out there. And I think it's an interesting skill to learn at a really young age, because a lot of people, I find through having taught for over 20, 30 years, is like, oh, wow, it's difficult for people to know like when and where to put what foot forward, right? And so I think it's a really unique skill that you're gaining, and maybe didn't realize that that's happening, but it's true because it's there's always a time and a place. I always tell my kids, I'm like, you know, my kung fu kids, there's always a time and a place, like, because we go to tournaments, we'll go to different environments, and there's different mindsets that you do have to kind of turn on and off. And I think those go in line with your affirmations, right? Like today it's the whichever one you need for, I'm going to go on camera or something. So do you have, I always ask this because I talk to a lot of athletes or a lot of professionals in their industry, whether they're, you know, on stage performing or whether they're actors. I have a lot of film people on my show. Do you have kind of a ritual or routine that you do before anything that would make you quote unquote nervous, like maybe right before you go on screen? Or is it like, okay, the art gallery is about to show my pieces? Or is there anything that you do to kind of prepare yourself for a moment that you're anticipating?
Okay, that's a good way to put it. So I would definitely say yes. I have to kind of switch my mindset. That's how I kind of would put it. Change my mindset from like, as soon as I wake up, like, okay, I gotta get ready. I gotta change my mindset right now so I feel confident and things like that. So when I go into different rooms, I really have to switch my mindset from being maybe like just regular me or to Sumer Strawbree. So it's also going along with the alter ego and persona that I have. So.
Is there, do you have like a go-to meal or like a go-to like hype song?
I don't have. I don't have
strawberries.
Oh yeah, that's a good thing.
Is that gonna be in your rider? Like, always need strawberries in my room, my green room, please.
I should
sure
do
that's
that.
in your rider. I'm gonna tell Dad.
I should do that. Yeah, but I don't have a go-to food routine right now. So.
Oh, okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
I was just being, you know, I'm really big on food. My listeners and my viewers are laughing right now because I always find a way to bring up food in my conversations. Speaking of which, because is there any specific food that's like your like family meal? Because, you know, I am Chinese Jamaican, so there's a lot of Jamaican food in my house, and I love to talk about food. So is there anything culturally or anything different about like the way your dad does this or you cook, for example? Is there any special dish that we can all look forward to sharing? No, I'm just kidding. I also invite myself to meals all the time, so
okay.
just so you know.
Not right now. I know my dad cooks really well. Right now, I'm not a fan of cooking, but
Okay.
I should probably get into it. Definitely
you
get
can't
into
do everything.
it.
You can't do everything, Summer. It's okay.
But yeah, my dad's a really good cook. So.
Okay, what's one of your favorite dishes?
I mean, definitely there's desserts that he comes up with.
Do tell.
We make desserts together too. My favorite one was, it's like kind of like a round cake thing where you put like yogurt and different fruit in there. So
Nice.
I think that was probably my favorite one that we've made so far. So
Very good. So you're big on desserts?
Yeah.
You're a fan?
yes.
I'm a fan too. How could you not? It's dessert. Speaking of which, I know you're an entrepreneur and you're an author and a role model, but you are also a teenager, and that is okay too. What do you do for fun? Like, what are some, like, this is what I do to unwind. It's okay to not have to be that Sumer Strawbree all the time, right? What do you do for fun?
So definitely, I love skateboarding. I've been skateboarding since I was in elementary school again.
Okay.
So I think everything probably sprouted from elementary school. So, but yeah, I love skateboarding. So fun. I don't have the type of skateboard that I could do tricks on, but
Okay.
it's basically like a longboard. So
Okay.
yeah, it's really exciting. Also, I love digital art. I mean, it's still part of my business, but I love creating.
That is okay. I talk to comic creators all the time because I'm a big comic book geek, and one of my favorites is Stan Sakai, and he does Usagi Yojimbo, which is a samurai rabbit, and it's been over 40 years now. And I'm like, what do you do for fun? He's like, I like drawing Usagi Yojimbo. So it's totally fine that there's overlap. So art can still be a hobby and something for fun as well as professional.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you find you draw different things for when you're like, okay, this is gallery stuff, or is there like fun things that you're like, this is just for me?
Yeah, so I really want to get into like the style. It's like kind of like a fashion design type of style.
Ooh, yeah.
It's so
Like
interesting.
sketch
Yeah,
kinda?
exactly.
Oh,
Yeah, that's really interesting to me as well. I really want to get into that. I want to start reading comic books as well.
Oh, we can have a long conversation about that.
Because I see the Marvel ones a lot, things like that. So also getting into different music now. So
Okay. So I love being schooled on music because I am like again, back to my dinosaur age, like my husband and I, we bonded over 90s hip hop, and that's kind of our thing. Obviously, you know, with reggae and dance hall with my Jamaican background. But tell me, what are the young, hip, cool kids listening to? I think all of that phrase was not young, cool, or hip, but whatever.
Okay, so I love the music that my dad plays.
Okay.
We went to an 80s concert like probably last week, which is really cool.
Yes.
He always plays Pharrell and Michael Jackson, which I think is really cool.
Love it.
But like personally, I've been getting into K-pop.
Okay. Wow. You too. I can introduce you to half of my kids over at the Kung Fu School, and they will tell you all these names of bands and Pink somethings and
Blackpink
and BTS and other and people that I don't know but respect.
Yeah.
Like much respect, because I feel like music, food, art, all of that. Well, art encompasses, you know, so many different things, but I feel like that's what brings people together, like internationally.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? Like those are the things that we can all kind of bond over, and it doesn't matter what you look like, right? So you're listening to the radio, and well, I mean, K-pop, you kind of know what they look like, because you know they're all just like really beautiful and well put together with like really fancy hair. I could never figure out, but so that's cool. You like K-pop.
Yeah.
Is that like your friend group also likes K-pop too?
Yes.
Is it like a thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a small group of friends that like it, because most people from my school, they think it's weird. But
that's just because they haven't been exposed
exactly,
to it. Do you find that people you interact with will label something weird? Do you feel like it comes from a place of fear or misunderstanding or not knowing something?
Definitely misunderstanding. I used to think of K-pop as interesting, because I wasn't into it yet. Because I haven't been exposed to it and haven't heard any of the music. So I've definitely learned more about Asian culture as well once getting into it, because I love learning about different cultures that aren't mine. So and also mine as well. But just getting exposed to new cultures, things like that, and learning languages too. So.
Yes. What language are you interested in learning, or do you have to take one in school?
I think there may be a Korean club at my school, but I've been learning it by myself. But yeah.
Amazing. Can you share one of the things that you've learned about your culture in the last few years that you've been just like, that has really rooted and connected you? Because I find that every decade of your life, you'll start to learn things about yourself, and it will stick with you. Is there something that in this, recent time, especially with all the success and all the things that's been happening, that you've kind of been like, wow, I just learned this, whether it's about your culture, whether it's something that's been on this journey that's really going to probably stick with you. And I talked to you in 10 years and you were, you're like, maybe I'll talk to you again, because, I was just on Oprah last week or whatever.
Definitely. Since like 2020, with all the George Floyd incidents that were happening with the police and things like that, I wasn't really aware of that. I was pretty young, but I think the media has been focusing on it more. But even taking a step back from that, learning about different figures that are in the Black community that made an impact and really influenced the culture, especially African American culture as well. So. I still have to do my research on it. I'm still not done learning. So,
Yeah, that was a really frustrating and angering time for everyone, right? Especially the Black community, and like being that it was while we're all kind of in lockdown, it was just such a visceral thing, right? To kind of view, and it was one of those moments where I thought, again, like, this is where it is so important that we're supporting one another across communities. It is so important that we are standing up for all the things that we believe in, and that, right is right and wrong is wrong. And yes, the murder of George Floyd was absolutely an outrage. And I would imagine if at the time, because school was out, like you guys were not, it was like everything was locked down, it was all virtual. Like I imagine that there would have been even more dissonance, meaning like if we were in school, because this is Florida, and I'm a big critic of the way that we deal with education and the the censorship that's been happening with banned books and everything, I feel like conversations would have been halted. I feel like there would have been a lot of people that would like have not wanted students to have these conversations, but I think it would have been really healthy for them to have been able to have an outlet to be able to talk to their peers and one another. Was there a community of friends that you guys spoke to one another? Like, hey, this is happening, here's how we're feeling. Since you brought this up, I wanted to make sure, like I brought together my community here and we did kind of conversation from all ages, and we made sure that we actually, ensured like, hey, here's how we is, when I say we, I say is the Kung Fu school, but like my community, here's how we stand, and we absolutely stand, with the Black community on this and what's been happening. Did you get a chance to have healing from that? Because it was so frustrating. It was so, and that's not even the right word. It is downplay of the right word, but like, did you get an outlet? Did you have people that you could talk to other than your dad? I know your dad's like there for you 1,000,000%, obviously, but it's good to have peers too that you can be with.
Actually, I've never thought of that because I don't think me and my friends really discussed that topic.
Yeah.
But I've seen it myself on social media of like the incident that happened with George Floyd and many other Black people that may have had different situations going on. But me and my friends have never really discussed that, which is really interesting. I think even teachers may have not really touched on that topic as well, my teachers.
Yeah.
But I've seen as a result of those different incidents that we are seeing more representation of Black and brown people on different commercials, things like that, movies, and I think a better way as well, because we may have been seen on movies.
100%. I was just gonna say, because I feel the same way. When we look at our culture, it's like, yes, we were on the screen, but usually made fun of, or usually in stereotypical castings and things like that. So it is really exciting for your generation, and I hope that the shift really does happen, where in mainstream media we're seeing people as people,
right,
and that we're not put in stereotypical boxes. And so it's fascinating that you're living in a really fascinating time where there's just so many different things that are happening, but and unfortunately just too slowly, because you even had a journey yourself where like you were sharing about your art, and you never thought to draw Black or brown beautiful people, which is certainly the case. And it's like, wow, when you did start to do that from an art perspective, like how did that feel, and what was that like for you? Because it was probably a huge mental shift as an artist, but as a like realizing like, wow, I never really did that before.
As I was young at that time, I never thought much of it.
Yeah.
But since I'm like reflecting back on it now, it's just seeing how it's kind of different now with representation, what I'm seeing, especially on different cartoons and things like that. I feel like the new generation, which is the generation after me, I think it's really great for them that they were just born with more representation than like even my generation was. And I think it's really exciting for them. And for my art journey, I really didn't think much of it when I was younger. But now when I'm like looking back on it, I'm like, it's kind of like a little disappointing that I didn't see much that reflected me and people that looked like me too. So
yeah, well, we all have that journey. We all have that. I have publicly talked about the fact that when I was in elementary school, which I grew up in Central Florida, right? So I actually did go to school in Central Florida and high school and everything. So I've been very connected to this entire area. And there were times where I was in elementary and everything, and I wished I weren't, right? So it's like I wished I looked like everyone else. I wish I wasn't the one with the weird lunch. Now I'm like, everyone wishes they had my lunch, but we all go through that, and I think it is. You use the word disappointing, but I think it's just part of that growth and that journey, and out of the negativity and the trials and tribulations comes all the positivity and all the amazing things that you're doing. I am so impressed but overwhelmed and grateful to be able to know you and to be able to learn from you. I'm very excited for the Blasian Book Fair and for you to be doing a vision board workshop as well as speaking, and we're gonna have a really great time just with other authors from various backgrounds and being able to kind of listen and learn from one another and give out free books. So I will tell everyone that we will definitely have banned books at the Blasian Book Fair. We will definitely have all books, and they will be free. So we are fundraising to ensure that we can purchase books from authors and things so that we can provide books to everybody, because we want books to be accessible, because they should be accessible. And of course you have your wonderful local libraries, which right now are untouched, and we hope it always stays that way, but so reach out. And has reading been always a big part of your journey?
Yes, and I'm starting to get back into it because I'm trying to read books more frequently now, especially over the summer when I have like more time, like less homework. But yeah, definitely I need to get more into books, especially ones that are like, that have minority leads as well. I think that's really important for me to like read something that I could most likely relate to.
Yeah. Do you have any like favorites that you've come across? I mean, no pressure. Or are there ones that you would recommend?
I started reading one right now. I forgot the title,
It's okay.
which is unfortunate, but yes, I'm trying to find more books that maybe have more Black and brown girls that are represented in a good way.
Yeah, there's some really great books out there. And I think that it's always a fun thing. Like back in my day, I keep saying this is like, but there's these really wonderful things called audiobooks now, and they're amazing. Like before they were on these little cassettes. So there's these things called cassettes, and they had, but basically they were like the production level on audiobooks is vastly different, especially biographies and autobiographies. Autobiographies, if it's read by the author, one of my favorite autobiographies and audiobooks of all time is Trevor Noah's Born a Crime. Like I highly, highly, highly recommend everyone read it because it's in his voice and he's a comedian, so his deliveries, but it's fascinating and absolutely amazing. So you can put that on. That's my recommended book read of the day. But in any case, is there anything else you want to share? Please tell all of our listeners and viewers like where they can find you, where they can get your books, where they can direct people who need your books, because so many adults and children need your books, not just youth. You know, I think this is really good for everyone to learn from your journey and to have affirmations in their life and positivity and gratitude and et cetera, and beautiful things like art. So tell us where we can find all of your amazing things.
All right, so you can find me at sumerstrawbree.com. So SumerStrawbree.com. So Sumer with one M, Straw, B-R-E-E. I also have Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, where you can see all my content as well.
Oh my goodness, amazing. And do you manage all of your social media content? Because I will tell you, I am very unhappy with the world of social media, and so I try to delegate that as much as possible because it's so overwhelming. But I know generationally that just means because I don't have the skill. Like, are you able to manage all the things? It's fun for you?
Well, the help of my dad, actually, because he has to manage my account because it's so important because there's crazy things online. So, and people say some weird stuff. So, yeah, definitely my dad manages it.
That's good. But you create your content.
Yes, with the help of my dad, though.
Yes. Well, what I mean is you're in the process.
Exactly.
But do you have fun with it? Do you enjoy doing reels and things like that?
Yeah,
Like you enjoy?
I love the content creation process, like the marketing as well, which I'm pretty interested in now. So how it works,
Oh, I cannot wait to see what you do next, and I wish you, you don't need it, but I wish you all the well in all the different facets of all the different things you're creating. I love all of this. I love the artwork. I love the books that you're making, so please continue that. You are such a role model for so many people, so thank you for that. We need more strong women who are leading the way and showing the world what they can do and speaking out. So thank you for that. I'm absolutely in awe. So.
Thank you so much for having me today.
All right, we'll see you all next time. Bye.
That's all for today's episode. Thanks for listening to the Sifu Mimi Chan Show. Please subscribe and rate my podcast on your platform of choice and leave a review. You can become a patron of the show at patreon.com/SifuMimiChan to help keep this podcast going. Follow me and interact on social media at Sifu Mimi Chan on Instagram or Facebook.